So you may have noticed by the lack of regular cadence on my videos that things have been kind of crazy around my shop. And that's because holiday season's coming up and everybody wants something done in time for Christmas. The good news is the holidays are coming, and that means you get to spend some time with the family and play some games, do whatever. Now in my house we like to do puzzles, and you may or may not have known this, but you can actually build puzzles with your laser. And in this video I'll show you how to make something that looks like this. So stick around and I'll show you how it's done. So how's it going, everybody? Steve here, and welcome back to the shop. And as I noted, holidays are coming and people will be sitting around your house after Christmas, and they'll be looking for things to do. And in my house we like to do puzzles, so I thought what a great opportunity to just put a puzzle together and show you how it's done. And there's still plenty of time between now and Christmas to put something together for the family. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need when we're doing a jigsaw puzzle is an interesting subject. And what I did was went and found a nice scenic photo and glued it to a piece of 3mm poplar plywood. I just used a glue stick, but you could also use like a spray adhesive or something. And this photo is just printed. I have a color laser printer and I just printed it on that and laid it on there on top of the glue, smoothed out all the bumps with my trusty bone folder here. And then to finish it off, I put some satin finish clear coat on top. And what that does is protects the surface once you cut it out. So that's it. And now all we need to do is drop it onto the laser, overlay a puzzle piece image and cut it out. Okay, so I hopped into Inkscape here, and the first thing we need to do is install an extension. The puzzle builder comes as an extension. It's been written by some very generous person and put up on the Inkscape site. So if I go to the Inkscape site, and what I've done is clicked on download extensions and meandered through. Now, in this case, the extension coincidentally happened to be the very first one. I'm not sure why, but if I click on that, I can then click the download button and it will download to my local machine, but that's the extension. Now, to get it installed into Inkscape, we need to go to Preferences, and if we look at the System option, you can see there's a whole bunch of directories here. One of them, the very third one here, is the directory for where user extensions go. And if we click that open, you can see on mine, I actually have the jigsaw extension copied there. All I did was open this folder, go to my downloads folder from my browser and copy it in here. So there's no real difficulty. You copy it and then you restart Inkscape and you're good to go. All right, so I restarted Inkscape here, and now I have an extension. If I go to render, you can see this jigsaw, laser cut jigsaw extension. It's pretty basic to understand. Set the size, the X and Y width and height of your puzzle that you're trying to create. Again, this will depend on how big of an image you can print. In the case of mine, I just used an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And so it's that size. You do want to kind of cut inside a little bit because there's borders and things on the page when you print it, but you'll figure it out once you lay it down. Last thing is the number of puzzle pieces you want to create. In this case, I'm creating something that's 16 puzzle pieces wide and 14 puzzle pieces tall, which is roughly the aspect ratio of this page. I set my page to these dimensions. And once I'm happy with that, I could hit apply right now, or if I wanted to do some extra things, I could change the size of the notches in the puzzle pieces. And the other thing I can do is set this option that allows some pieces to be smooth on one side. That doesn't mean flat, it just means that there won't be a tab or a slot. There'll just be potentially a curve in the side of the puzzle piece. And then you can set the percentage of puzzle pieces in your puzzle that have flat sides. And once you're happy with that, you can just hit the apply button and you can see it went really quickly. And now I have a puzzle built. Now, because I'm laying this out on a pre-built image, I can just literally lay down my image on the laser, my piece of plywood with my image on it, and hit the go button once I align it, of course. and cut the puzzle out. Now, if you wanted to do something like an engrave where you're doing an engrave image first and then you could cut it out, you could also do that. But I won't do it. I don't find that all that I don't find the quality of that all that good, so I tend not to do it that way. Anyway, we can save this, we can shoot it over to the laser. Now, when you are cutting this, you want to make sure you add maybe 5% extra to the settings you would normally use for cutting out 3mm plywood. We are cutting through a sheet of paper as well, but you also want to make sure that these are guaranteed to cut all the way through. There will be some flex in this especially if your plywood's not perfectly flat. So you want to make sure that when the job is done, what you really have is a handful of separate pieces here. You don't want to be trying to break these apart. To help keep it flat when you glue it, once you glue the paper onto the plywood, and I just use a regular glue stick to do this. I normally sandwich it between a couple of sheets of acrylic and then put some weight on it just so that it dries flat. You might want to do the same thing. Anyway, we'll get the laser going here and I'll show you what we get. So there you go. You can see it wasn't all that difficult. We started with a plugin in a browser, created our puzzle shape, bit of plywood, some glue, a good quality image, and then sprayed it all with clear coat to protect it. Laid our image on top of it in our laser program and cut it out. And what you end up with is a big handful of puzzle pieces like this. And you can immediately sit down with the family and put it together. Now, you really have to question whether this is a commercially viable effort. And the answer is maybe. If you're making puzzles for kids, typically like an 8x10-inch puzzle the size of a sheet of paper, for kids you're probably going to have maybe 24 pieces at tops, 15 to 20 anyway. In that case, the puzzle pieces are fairly big, so things like laser kerf, that width of the laser beam as you cut, really won't be that much of an impact. But for the puzzles I built here, and I'll show you on this, I'll show you the video here. You can see the puzzle once you have a lot of small pieces, there's a lot of kerf to add up there. So you can see there's a lot of slop and play in it. So it's probably not something you want to do for anything commercial, at least not with a lot of pieces. You know, if you're doing something, a special photo that you're putting down for the family and you want to just get everybody together to put it together over the holidays, sure, go do that, right? It's fine for that, but probably not for commercial with more than a couple dozen pieces. Anyway, if you don't understand kerf, I'll put a video up above here. Go watch that and I'll see you over there. Otherwise, get out there and go make your world and certainly go make some puzzles, and I'll see you next time.